Big pharmaceuticals play a pivotal role in the healthcare sector, demonstrating the functioning and inner industrial workings of these medicine giants. Pravritti 2022 brings to you a virtual industry tour of Dr. Reddy's Laboratories, an Indian multinational pharmaceutical company. With us, we have Mr. Sumesh Tiwari, HR Management Trainee at Dr. Reddy's. I request Mr. Sumesh to take over.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much, Laksh and team for inviting Dr. Reddy's to this virtual industry tour. And greetings, everyone. Hope you all are doing well. And so, first of all, this is the first time that even we are doing this plant visit or an industry tour in a virtual setup. So, kudos to Team OCS and Team Pravritti for organizing this. Hopefully, all of you will have a enhanced learning experience from this tour. Going forward, I would just like to clarify one thing. Is there anyone who will be present during the entire meeting to coordinate? Laksh or Ritika?
Yes, I'll be there.
Yeah, we would.
Great, great. So, in case there are any burning queries during the session, you can raise your hand or maybe transfer to Laksh or Ritika, and then we can take it up accordingly. Okay, and if not, then you can also I'll drop in my email ID in the chat. If anyone wants, you can reach out to me over on my email, and then I'd be happy to resolve all your queries. Great. Just diving straight into the session then. First, I would like to quickly talk about in a brief couple of minutes about the pharmaceutical industry overall, since being a part of Dr. Reddy's is the core of the pharmaceutical industry in India. So, speaking from the pharmaceutical industry standpoint, our primary goal is to change people's lives for the better. The quality of life, if you see statistically over the last 150 years, has significantly improved, and we can probably say that the availability of healthcare is one of the most important drivers of this improvement. Now, as healthcare systems have evolved and now we invest in developing new pharmaceutical drugs, the life expectancy at birth has also increased across the globe. One major factor in increasing life expectancies since the turn of the 21st century has been pharmaceutical innovation. And indeed, again, talking about a few statistics, indeed, if you look from 2000 to 2009, the average life expectancy increased by 1.73 years across a sample of 30 developed and developing countries. And access to new pharmaceutical products explains 73% of that improvement. Now, the development of a new therapeutic product, that is a new drug or a new biologic, is a long, complex, and expensive process, which typically takes around 10 to 12 years, sometimes more, from product identification to commercialization. This life cycle usually involves 4 stages: discovery and research, development, regulatory review and approval, and followed by commercialization and marketing. So, as an integrated global pharmaceutical enterprise from Dr. Reddy's, we operate through 3 core business segments. First is pharmaceutical service and active ingredients, or which we call API, active pharmaceutical ingredients. Global generics, which is our customer facing market, and proprietary products, which is our innovation. And for the purpose of this tour, I would be focusing on the API manufacturing, which is active pharmaceutical ingredients, which we have a learning module design, which is specifically focused for the freshers or beginners who are entering into the manufacturing of active pharmaceutical ingredients. So if any of you get to be part of Dr. Reddy's, then probably this session would be helpful to a great extent. So this module would help you to understand the various functions involved in API manufacturing. It also explains about the chemical operations involved in manufacturing of intermediates, finished drug substances, powder process, and packing. But before we move into the learning module, I would also like to share one video through screen sharing. So this video basically illustrates how our purpose, which is to accelerate access of affordable and innovative medicines to everyone, because good health can't wait. So this video illustrates how our purpose guides our customer value propositions and strategic choices. So I'll just quickly share my screen and show you the video. just maybe Lakshya or Vritika, let me know if the sound is also audible. Is everyone able to see my screen?
Yeah, you're audible and the screen is also visible.
Great, great. So I'll play the video then. Just let me know if there is any issues during the video.
Don't get the medicines they need. We believe that good health is not just for the few, but a human right. So that's why we're putting patients at the heart of everything we do, and making 5 promises to them and all who rely on us. Promise 1. We'll bring expensive drugs within reach of everyone. We've already brought life-saving drugs like azacitidine, fondaparinux, and Redditux to patients at a fraction of the cost of the innovators' versions. Now, we pledge to release many other complex and difficult-to-develop drugs at easily affordable prices. Promise 2. We'll challenge convention to meet patients' unmet needs. We developed Ketorol, a powerful pain-relieving gel which is so safe it's available over the counter. Tomorrow, we want to take this same thinking and be the first to help control and eradicate infection after surgery by developing a topical drug that will protect patients before they start healing from the incision itself. Promise 3. We'll design services that go beyond the medicine. In America, we help sufferers of severe cystic acne through the Promise program, which offers patients a unique combination of a dedicated pharmacy, education, and financial support. Having seen what benefits Promise has brought, we pledge to push the boundaries of what these types of services can offer, so that patients living with disease have the opportunity to live their lives more freely. Promise 4. We'll make sure pharmacy shelves are always full. In Russia, we're doing this with the help of Viva, our cutting-edge inventory management system that monitors pharmacy stock levels and replenishes them as required. Now, we'll make sure this smart system gets smarter and more responsive, so that pharmacies, no matter how remote, always have the power to get their customers what they need. Promise 5. When it comes to our partners' needs, no challenge will ever be too big. Recently, we helped a major pharmaceutical partner avoid a global shortage of a prominent cancer drug. We were able to respond within 48 hours and then provide an essential intermediate to make sure production could continue. Having the ability to respond to crises of this stature, we pledge to always do everything in our power to help partners get drugs to patients as quickly as possible. We're making these 5 promises because it will mean health to millions more. Because we can make a difference. And because we believe good health can't wait.
So I hope everyone was able to see the video and get a grasp of how what drives everyone, literally everyone working at Dr. Reddy's, and maybe that shows you a glimpse of how things are around here. After this, I'll quickly move to the learning module which we have already designed. I'll since it's basically a module which is designed for all freshers and gives a holistic learning. I would focus more on the practical aspects of it and try to skip through a bit of the theory aspects, because I'm sure all of you guys have a very good grasp on the theoretical parts, right? So I'll just share my screen. Let me know if there's any issue with that.
Yes, sir, your screen was visible.
Acha, just a second. I think the screen went away, right? Just 1 second, I'll reshare. Yeah, it's visible now.
Yes, sir.
Great, thanks. Yeah. So basically, from this course, the learning objectives that you'll have is that one, you'll have a basic understanding on the unit process and unit operations, basic informations about the manufacturing equipment used in API, along with a few working videos of different equipments as well, and understand and basically get an understanding of the execution behind API manufacturing. So moving on. I'm sure all of you know very well what unit process and unit operations is, but still to reiterate, unit process involves chemical reactions to get the desired molecules, and unit operations are processes that involves bringing physical change in the molecule. Moving further, these are the typical manufacturing steps which are involved in API manufacturing. So API, if any one of you still has any doubt, APIs are active pharmaceutical ingredients or bulk drugs, which are further then used for creating formulations of different kinds. So these are the different steps, manufacturing steps that are involved. If there are any doubts as to which step is what, or what does it signify, then there are different explanations also given, but I'm sure all of you are well aware of all these: reaction, filtration, extraction, drying, workup, powder processing, distillation, and packaging, right? Moving on. So these are the reactor classifications. Um, the one is SSR, which is stainless steel reactor. We have the mild steel shell, and we also have the Hastelloy reactor, right? And I'll just quickly move to these are mostly talking about the setups that are required for different manufacturing operations. I'll try and shift to the working of the different operations and different processes that are involved in API manufacturing. Just a second. Laksh, can you let me know which slide is visible right now?
So it's the motor and gearbox setup.
Okay. I think it's stuck somehow. Just I'll stop my screen sharing and then reshare. Just give me a second. Screen's visible now?
Yes, so it's the
Yeah.
agitator
Yes.
and
Great. So there is another there is another component called stirrer or agitator, which is responsible for uniform mixings of different reactants, gases, and uniform distribution of temperature. Then there are a few types of flow patterns that you need to remember for these processes. Axial, radial, vortex, swirling are the types of flow patterns which would be mostly used. And there are also which the agitators or stirrers that I talked about, the different types of agitators and linked, respectively linked flow patterns. For example, paddle type has a radial flow pattern. A flat blade turbine has again a radial flow pattern, and an anchor type agitator has a tangential flow. Further, pitch blade turbines are also there. This gives an axial flow. and retreat curve impeller gives again a radial flow, and this is basic propeller design which gives an axial flow. Then next component of interest would be the baffles. These help in preventing vortex formation in the mixtures and ensuring better mixing of reactants and uniform temperature distribution again. So number of baffles sometimes depending on the process may vary between 3 and 4. And then there are a couple of heating and cooling jacket types, limpet coil and double jacket system. Yeah. Then there's the seals. So these seals prevents the contents inside the reactor from escaping during the ongoing operation, which could cause harm to the environment, equipment, or personnel. So it's a very important component in terms of safety aspects. And so the regular maintenance of the same is also required. Different types of seals are also mentioned here. You can also see this video of the working, the different components of seal and how it basically looks. These are the agitators that we talked about, right? In the setup, in the plant, if you had a physical plant visit, then this is what this would have looked like. Okay, so moving on to the next part, temperature sensors. Again, there's RTDs, bottom sensor, and infrared sensor. Infrared, I'm sure you all would have heard about these temperature sensors in your currently undergoing courses as well. Next, talking about the pressure and vacuum gauges. So pressure gauge is used for measuring of positive pressure on reactors. Vacuum gauge is used to measure negative pressure. Compound gauge is used for measuring both positive and negative pressure on reactor. And transmitter is used for auto data recording and control. Then there's flow meter for measuring of flow online and rotameter for measuring of liquid flow rate, right? Constant feed rate per hour. Then there's level measurement of the reactor, right, which is critical and has an impact on distillation concentration as well. Then there's load cell, which is a sensor or a transducer that converts a load or force acting on it into an electronic signal. Then there's the pH meter, which when immersed into the process solution, it produces an electrical signal proportional to the hydrogen ion activity. So the purpose of this pH meter is to know the completion of the reaction, as in till what stage has the reaction been completed basis the products. Then process control system is by manual and automated methods. Manual methods include valve operation, weighing, start and stop of motors, etc. And function of process control system is to control the flow, level, pressure, pH, composition, and basically all the components of the reaction. And classification of process control systems. So there are two types of controls: closed loop control and open loop control. This is basically a closed loop control, and this is an open loop control, wherein in a closed loop control, after the process is completed, feedback is also looped into the control loop. right? Then there's supervisory control and data acquisition, which for now, I think due to time constraints, we can skip for now. I'll quickly move to a few more. This is again the pressure relief valve or the safety relief valve. This gives a brief understanding of how the functioning of the same is. Right? Once this valve is opened or closed, and accordingly the flow is regulated. Then talking about the powder transfer system. This gives an entire idea of how the flow is regulated in the powder transfer system. This is the powder inlet pressure through this valve. Hope everyone is getting at least a basic understanding of all these processes. If there are any questions, please feel free to mail them. Right. Then distillation is simple distillation and fractional distillation. Both processes are there. So fractional distillation are used when boiling points of the liquids to be distilled are similar. Of course, petroleum crude, everyone knows about that. Then crystallization is again the natural or artificial process of formation of solid crystals precipitating from a supersaturated solution. There are different factors which affect crystallization and different types of crystallizations, which are everything again a part of the theory itself. Then polymorphism, ability of a solid material to exist in more than one form. There are different techniques of polymorphism: single crystal X-ray, powder X-ray, differential scanning, or thermogravimetric analysis. I'll just quickly factors I'm sure you'll get in any of the theory books that you refer. So this is basically an overall idea of the process. I hope everyone has understood. Laksh, I know we're at 1:30. Is it okay if I take a couple of more minutes and conclude the?
Yes, sir. Sure,
Okay,
sir.
thank you. Thank you so much. Also, were you able to hear the audio of the video?
So I guess the audio wasn't there.
At-
Like we could share.
Okay, name. Okay. Then sharing may problem. Okay, I hope the labeling was self-explanatory for that particular video. Other than that, I'll explain along the way. So there's agitated Nash filter come dryer. This separates solids and liquids by filtration under pressure or vacuum. This is also very common equipment that you'd find in any API manufacturing facility. Then the filtration stages for ANFD are filling, filtering, displacement washing, then re-slurry washing, then smoothing, drying, cooling, and discharging. This entire thing takes place in the ANFD itself in 7 different stages, right? And after filtration, we move on to drying. Then drying also, there are different types of drying that we use. Air tray dryer, this is vacuum tray dryer also is there. Then rotary cone vacuum dryer is also there. Then fluid bed dryer is also there. And finally, ATFD is also there, which basically where the feed product is evenly distributed by the rotor and its wipers over the heating surface. So the entire point of the drying operation is that after the filtration process, we need to remove the whatever liquid or water content is there in the API. We need to remove that before sending it for packaging, right? Then fluid bed dryer, there's a small working video. We'll just quickly cover it so that you all can understand. And if there are any questions, please, again, you can either share over chat or mail them to me. I think we went back a bit. Yes, after that we have powder processing. You can see this diagram here for the entire process. Material inlet, and after that we have the grinding chamber, which has chopping blades, mesh, and discharge hopper, and what every particular components does is mentioned over here itself. And we after this powder processing, we basically get a particle size between 0.2 mm to 25 mm. We've also mentioned the models that we currently use here at Dr. Reddy's manufacturing sites also. This entire module has been created for Dr. Reddy's employees specifically so that they can get an understanding, a proper understanding of in-depth manufacturing processes before they actually start to work with the equipment. Right, you can see that after this, we're getting the powdered form after the mesh. Then air jet mill is another form of powder processing. We have a working video also. This is a simple diagrammatic video, which I'm guessing maybe you can find online as well. Then there's sifter also, which during the operation of mill and micronizer, we reduced the particle size to our requirement. But they are still a mixture of different particle size. It mentioned, right, 0.2 mm to 25 mm something. Then in order to separate these particles on the basis of sizes, we use the sifter. These are the different parts of a sifter. We have the sieve, we have the coarse particle discharge, the motor, fine particle discharge, the spring, and charging hopper. So basically the fine particles and the coarse particles are separated through the sifter. Then finally comes the packing process. The importance of packaging, I'm sure you all know, that it protects the pharmaceutical ingredient from contamination, from extraneous matter, light, humidity, air, from any other reaction, and ensure that product is safe throughout its intended shelf life. There are primary, secondary, and tertiary packaging as well. Food grade, of course, for pharmaceuticals, we need to use food grade polythene bags, black polythene bags accordingly, right? Then this is the entire flow that we've covered during the session. The chemical reactions between the initial reactants. After that, we had the filtration process. Then we had the drying process, which removed any water or liquid content from the filter. And then we moved on to the size reduction, size separation, and finally packaging. We can skip the assessment, I'm sure. So if any of you end up joining Dr. Reddy's, then this especially the API manufacturing unit, then this video you'll have to go through again, and then maybe you can take the assessment and judge yourself upon it. So this was just a brief introduction into the API manufacturing that we have at Dr. Reddy's. Then there's also R&D. There's a lot of different stuff going on around the globe that we have. So hopefully this was an interesting and learning experience for all of you. Again, if any questions, Laksh or anyone from Team OCS, you can share with me over email. I'll just quickly drop my email ID. So any questions about the session that we had, or since I've also been a part of the campus COE for any year in the organization. So if you have any questions about the campus recruitments that we have at Dr. Reddy's, you may feel free to reach out to me. Great, then thank you so much, Team OCS, Team Pravritti, and thank you, Laksh, for having us here. Hope it was an engaging and a learning experience for all of you. Thanks a lot.
Yes, sir. Indeed, I would like to thank Mr. Somesh and Dr. Reddy's for the in-depth session. I'm sure students have got a great insight in the working of pharmaceuticals, especially one like Dr. Reddy's. I would also like to thank students for joining the session and helping make Pravritti 22 a successful event. Thank you all.
Great. Thank you so much, guys. Have a great day. Bye-bye.